to keep the marriage together. But he's saying that in a different marriage, you would fall over your head in these little.
So, if you had to say two lesser narcissists married, because what's central to the narcissist business is control, they would both inadvertently seek to control one another without realizing that's what they're trying to do. And of course, because they are resistant to being controlled, what will happen is narcissist A can take certain action to prevent control of narcissist B and vice versa. So you essentially have a chaotic relationship where you might have a greater narcissist married a mid-range narcissist. There can be a harnessing of the behaviors whereby there will be some chaotic behaviors, but the greater having that self-awareness will harness mid-range narcissist for particular purposes. And in such an instance, the mid-range narcissist, although fighting against control, would also benefit from the status of kudos that comes from association with the greater narcissist. A good example.
Okay, hold on, because he totally lost me here. Is anybody else confused? Because I am totally confused. And feel free to chat if you want. Um, the one thing I know about, especially narcissistic men, they tend to talk way over your head. And this guy definitely does that. I'm the type of person I need it dummied down because I have no clue. Habeas and something else he said. What does that even mean? I would spend half of my relationship with him looking up words he said. A lot of people come to me and say Sam Beckman is the same way. They're like, we like you, Dee, because you break everything down like really lower grade level, first grade, third grade level, whereas Sam Beckman and this HG tutor tend to talk way over your head in these lofty words that you might hear like among the kings and queens of England. I have no clue what he's talking about right now. HG was saying something about habeas and then something else, and I'm totally confused. So I'm going to keep on listening and see if I can decipher what on earth he's even saying.
All of that, but the Clintons, Hillary, Bill, he's great as she's mid-range.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, so Bill, very charismatic individual, self-aware, and of course, we all know she's got up to various things behind her back.
Yeah.
She won't know about some of those things. She will tolerate some of those things because she will recognize that she has a benefit from her continued involvement with Bill. So there is, in a sense, an uneasy standoff that occurs. With other types of narcissists, it's chaotic and the marriage will collapse and fall apart.
Okay, wait a minute. He's talking about Hillary, yeah. Hillary and Bill Clinton here. He's saying Bill Clinton was the greater narcissist, Hillary is the mid-range narcissist, and that Bill was getting away with sneaking behind her back, having an affair, and some of that stuff she will tolerate to keep the marriage together. But he's saying that in a different marriage, you would all fall apart, become chaotic, and be a mess. I don't know if I agree with him. I really am thinking Hillary is more the greater narcissist than Bill is, simply because it seems as a woman she pulls more of the weight. She seems to have more of an upper hand over things than Bill does, in my opinion. And I personally do think they're both narcissistic. I see it more in Hillary, maybe because my experience with narcissists was more with female narcissists than with males. I don't know, just my thought. Continue.
So, generally speaking, because 99.99% of narcissists are either less or mid-range, so the vast majority of narcissists are lesser or mid-range is very rare. Where they collide, it will be a chaotic and difficult marriage, which will ultimately fall apart.
So I think what I know about narcissists, I think I agree with him about the greater narcissist being very rare. I think Sam Vaknin refers to the greater narcissist as malignant narcissists. And a lot of people that come to me say, well, I was with a narcissist, but he didn't do all that really extreme behavior stuff. It's probably because you were with a lesser or a mid-range narcissist, most likely, not a full-fledged malignant or greater narcissist.
Okay. I did want to ask you, you said that you were a narcissistic psychopath. Can you explain that a little bit more in detail? Because I know what a narcissist is somewhat, but very different to a narcissist psychopath. So what exactly does that mean for you as a person?
It means I have blend of narcissistic personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder. Being a narcissistic psychopath, I have a need for control over people that the narcissist has. My psychopathy means that I don't have fear and that I'm single-minded and driven. Both types don't have any compassion, don't have any remorse, don't have any emotion. If I was solely a psychopath, I wouldn't have a need for control and fuel. If I was solely a narcissist, I would still experience some degree of fear. And being the combination of the two is as I've just described, so that I have to have control over people that come within what I call my fuel matrix. Because of my psychopathy, and I have a higher executive function, it means I'm seeking Machiavellian, and I am entertained as a consequence of manipulations that I engage in people.
Okay, so what he's saying here, if y'all ever meet him in a dark alley, okay, Evelyn, thanks for filling me in on that. I'm just saying from my experience, I've noticed that, but hey, okay, I could be wrong. Of course, HG might say what you meant was not a greater narcissist. The bigly and fake news narcissist might have been a mid-range or lesser narcissist. Oh, I know, Nichelle. I know you've been dealing with that stuff for a while. I'm so sorry. I'll be praying for you, girl. Yeah, they will do that. I know. My first one did that too. So he's saying he's a narcissistic psychopath. So he's narcissist and psychopath. So not only does he like hurting people, just because he needs that supply for people to fear him, or he also probably, does the whole wine and dine love bombing thing. Not only does he do that because he needs the supply, he enjoys watching the people suffer. So he's a psychopath. He has no feelings of remorse, no feelings of regret. So think about that a minute. Would you really want to spend your life with somebody like that? No, thank you. I wouldn't and won't.
But I don't have the experience of fear that a narcissist does not have psychopathy has. So, for instance, a mid-range narcissist who doesn't have any psychopathy not only has an underlying conscious fear of loss of control, but would also fear taking a beating of somebody. I don't have that fear. So that, in essence, is the distinction.
Okay.
So a narcissist who hurts somebody has a fear that that person's going to retaliate. They don't want to be beat up. They don't want to suffer punishment. He's saying he has no fear of that. Bring it, basically, literally bring it. Not bring it, oh yeah, I'm a tough guy, I'm going to kind of, act like a bully. He means he literally, and I know a lot of people cannot grasp this, he literally has no fear of pain, of being harmed, or anything like that. So he will just keep on hurting people because he has basically no conscience. That's what he's saying. That's scary and upsetting.
Now, you did say that you were forced into treatment. So you're in treatment now, but you know, as a narcissist, that you can't be fixed. In other words, you know that. So are you in treatment and manipulating your therapist?
Okay, I'm going to let him answer that in a minute, of course. I want to say this. The whole thing about being in treatment. I said, thank God. And then she said, well, you know that you can't be fixed. I disagree with Diane. I believe that God can do anything, and I know for a fact that even the worst narcissists, if they give their lives to God, to Jesus, to Joshua, they can be healed as if they never were narcissists. If you don't believe me and you do believe the Bible, read about Saul, who turned into Paul. He was not only a narcissist, psychopath, he was lighting people on fire and enjoying watching them burn simply because they were followers of Jesus. He was lighting them up like candles and killing them. He was throwing them to lions. He was having them killed by other people and enjoying every minute of it. That was Saul. God restored him. He knocked him off of his donkey, or whatever horse it was, and radically changed him. But only God can do that, in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying that psychotherapy does not help. It just depends. But I know for a fact that if God really gets a hold of somebody and changes them, they can be fixed. So I disagree, Diane. Sorry. Well, not sorry. Actually.
Yes, I went along with that in order to reject the control that my family were trying to assert over me. They thought that by causing me to get into therapy, they were able to control me. I gave them that illusion of control by agreeing to do it for the purposes of preventing them from taking certain actions which would impinge upon my control of them, also to enable me to access certain information that I needed for other purposes. I can't say any more about what that is, but merely that my involvement in this therapy enables me access to particular information, and thirdly, because I was interested in learning more about myself. And the danger is that if you put the great narcissist, which I am, to therapy, all we do is make it more dangerous. Other narcissists, lesser narcissists, won't bother with it. They will say, there's nothing wrong with me.
Okay, so my ex-husband, who was diagnosed narcissistic, did go to therapy. It didn't make him dangerous. He wasn't per se dangerous. But what it did do was gave him a chance to sit and try to throw me under the bus and say, well, if she would just mind me, if she would do what I said, well, my wife isn't doing what she should do as a wife, and that's why I do what I do to her. So it kind of just fueled the fire for him to feel more justified in his abuse of me.
I don't need to get to therapy. Mid-range narcissists will either reject it or go along with it, but will utilize it as a means of doing it for a short period of time, and then they will say to the victim, well, I've been in therapy and they said there was nothing wrong with me.
Yep.
Sometimes that's a lie, but patient confidentiality means that it can't be disproven. Or often the mid-range narcissist will con the therapist.
I hope you guys heard that. Confidentiality means it cannot be disproven. What he's saying is basically because the therapist can't talk to the spouse normally, if they're counseling one-on-one with a narcissist, they can't go to the spouse and say, well, yeah, your husband has NPD, because that would be breaking confidentiality. In my case, my ex-husband and I were in therapy together, and within 2 hours, the therapist diagnosed him as narcissistic, but not to his face. She called me on the phone. She said, I could risk losing my job telling you this, but I cannot ethically, in my heart and in my mind, let you not know what's going on. You married somebody with NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, along with a bunch of other things, and if you stay with him, you will never be happy because he doesn't care. He does not care about your happiness. He doesn't care what will fulfill you. He is not going to do anything in your life to better you or even to listen to you or care about what you feel. My therapist, our therapist, came to me behind the scenes on a phone call and risked her job telling me that. So what he's saying is the truth. Your narc is in therapy. He signed a release to you, but the therapist still won't discuss anything with me. Narc claims therapy. Yeah, And it's hard to know because they lie so much. They lie so darn much. That's what my ex-husband said when he went into he was evaluated in the hospital by a psychotherapist, by a psychiatrist. And he said, "Oh, she said there's nothing wrong with me. It's just you." No, there was definitely something wrong with him. In fact, his closest friends knew there was something wrong with him and told me so. So, yeah. Yeah, true, Purple Orchid. I know that for a fact. There's not many people, even in like Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and places like that, that attend therapy either. It's not a well known thing there. They find it very foreign when I tell them I see a counselor, my husband sees a counselor. They're like, "What? Are you sick?" They don't get it. That people just literally go to counselors to talk. It's different in other countries. You're right about that. Definitely. Okay, we'll continue.
Into thinking that either there's no issue there, or even making it seem that the real victim is the problem. So therapy is a complete waste of time for any type of narcissist because it cannot be healed, it cannot be cured. It is an intrinsic part of what we are and can't be undone because the vast majority of narcissists, I've explained, don't know what they are and therefore can never address it. And indeed, their narcissism steers them away from any threat to the existence of that narcissism.
Now, I want to say something here. He keeps saying there's no cure, they can't be cured because they don't know what they are. There's no way to fix them. Baloney. Again, I think some can be. I think God has to get a hold of them. They need to make God their God and not themselves their God. And it depends on the situation. I'm not saying every narcissist can be helped, some can't. But he almost makes it sound like I was born this way. I don't believe that. I don't believe most people are born to be narcissists. I think it's something where their own needs were neglected, or they were put on a pedestal as children, or they were abused as children, and it forms. Basically, it's this attitude of nobody was there for me, nobody will ever be there for me, so all I can rely on is me. And I have to be the best at this, and I have to look a certain way in order to get people to do what I want them to do. It's an attitude, it's a choice. I don't believe it's something that, oh, you just wake up one day and you hate everybody, you just want to hurt everybody, you want to project on everyone, you just want to punish everybody. No, I think it's learned and it's honed behaviors that you train yourself to practice. It's like any addiction, habit, or anything else, in my opinion, and it can be changed in many cases, not all cases. I won't even say most cases, but I'll say in many cases, I do believe it can be changed. Now, that being said, that would mean removing that person out of society, locking them into a facility where they are deprogrammed, literally, and they are taught empathy. It can be done. Thank you, Chloe. I know this for a fact because I've talked to people that have done this with narcissists. So, sorry, HG, I disagree. And I won't give you your supply source of agreeing with you. Okay, let's continue.
Greater narcissists see no purpose to be addressed by even looking at curing it, because it can't be, but would engage in the process to learn more and just become more effective.
Okay, I heard you say in one of your videos that you believe there are now more narcissists than ever.
Yes.
Now, I wanted to ask you this question. What effect does a narcissistic parent, a mother perhaps, have on a child? And being a narcissist, is it a learned behavior, or is it something that you think that people are born with?
Thanks, Diane.
Narcissism arises as a combination of two factors: genetic predisposition towards narcissism, allied with a lack of control of environment. So you have the seed and the soil. And you have to have those two components. So you might have somebody who has a genetic predisposition towards narcissism because they've got a parent that's a narcissist, but they're not exposed to a lack of control environment. Why? There might be a non-narcissist parent who's being more heavily, or a non-narcissist grandparent, for example, that prevents that lack of control environment from splitting down. splendid lifestyle, told that they're brilliant when they're not, given every advantage without actually having to ever achieve anything, and ultimately have no control over their environment. You also have what I call grade B syndrome. So that might be the situation where the child is always told, well, it's good but not good enough, run faster, jump higher, get better grades, be better, be better, be better. And that child again has no control. You have to have the two things that come together, otherwise a narcissist won't be created.
Okay. Okay. So I have another question here. What about when it comes to love? So narcissists don't really love anyone. Is that true? When you get into a relationship, it's more about yourself and fueling your desires. Okay, can you explain that a little bit more in depth for us about not being able to love, and why do you find yourself drawn to certain women, or it could be the opposite, a woman drawn into a man. What exactly are you doing when you get into a relationship with the
Okay, I'll let him answer that in a minute. Obviously, let the recording answer it. So what he just said about how narcissists are formed confused the heck out of me. Was anybody else confused? And if you weren't, will you type in kind of in really simple terms for me what the heck he was saying? Because I would have to listen to it about 5 more times to even understand. I'm probably a little dense when it comes to stuff like that, but it didn't make sense to me. Purple, if you understood it, please type it in for me so I can understand it. Thanks. Let's continue to let him listen, or let him answer why he gets into relationships.
what are narcissists doing?
Okay, well, there's a range of issues there. First of all, let's tackle love. Narcissists are incapable of love. Love is found on emotional empathy. So that is, and I've learned this from my interaction with other people and watching and listening, that the manifestation of love is not harming the other person. It's being supportive, respecting them, recognizing their boundaries and their interests. Love is not standing beneath the balcony with pouring rains in Gulf Korea. It is not getting down on bended knee in front of a packed basketball auditorium to propose marriage. It's not what's written in Hallmark cards. It's not buying lots of gifts. But all of those things are what my kind drive the narrative. So many of you listening will have pop songs, books, films, where you'll take your cues from in terms of what's seen for a romantic. Much of that material has been generated by our kind, and thus leads into the mainstream to cause people to think, well, love is that.
Okay, I'm going to continue letting him explain that, but I want to kind of clarify that for anybody that's a little lost. What I believe he's saying is that many of us think that love is the whole whining, dining, romance, Romeo and Juliet, the knight in shining armor coming in on the white horse or steed, as we used to call it. That's what even little girls grow up to think that is going to happen in their life. Many little girls, at least I did. I was Cinderella, I was Alice in Wonderland, I was every Disney princess that existed in my mind. I believed that's what my life would have been. And I think sometimes I still look for that. So I do agree with him in the sense that many of those things were made up by narcissists. Walt Disney was a narcissist. Hate to tell you all that, but it is the truth. Many of those things were geared for this false sense of fantasy that this is the ideal. This is what every woman wants. This is what every man should be like and what every person hopes for. And thankfully, I had a foster mom that taught me, and I hope nobody's eating right now when I say this. Love is when you can clean up his vomit after he ate a bad meal. Love is when you're holding his hand and he's sick in bed and he can't give you what you need. Love is when those children are screaming in your face and you can look at them and say, I love you. I'm sorry you feel that way. That's love. Love is not all this crazy exaggerated, romantic, whatever. And love also is a choice. When I met Matthew, good morning, Wilson, L. Wilson. When I met Matthew, he asked me, he said, you say you really like me and you care about me and you feel like you might be starting to grow to love me. What does that mean? What does love mean? Because Matthew is autistic, so, he's going to ask those very pointed questions out and out. And I said, love is a choice. He goes, well, how do you know that you love me? I said, because I'm choosing to love you. I know that sounds foreign to a lot of people. We get into this idea of I fell in love with them. They just really turn me on. Oh, they're so hot, all this kind of stuff. And I hate that term, by the way, but I'm just trying to make an example here. To me, and what I was taught and what I believe is that love is a choice. You choose who to love. You choose that when that person gets up, that this is the person I want to wake up with. This is the person I want to go to sleep with. This is the person I'm going to pay the bills with. To me, that's love. Love is not all this flowery, physical, emotional stuff. That is manifestation of love, but that is not love, my opinion. Again, my commentary, so I'm just making comments in between. Let's go back to HG without further ado. Thank you, Purple. That makes sense.
Romantic poem. Love is coming out with things such as, I would swim across an ocean for you. I'd do anything, I'd die for you. No, all of those things are just dressing. And love is a much more solid concept, just founded on emotional empathy. And we don't have it. Many narcissists think that they love because they don't know what they are. And what they are able to do is copy the manifestation of love. So it's very easy for someone to say, I love you. But much harder for them to demonstrate it in a way that utilizes emotional empathy. And of course, we can't do it because we don't have the emotional empathy. So we don't feel it in the way that you do. So for example, let's say I'm walking on the road and I see an old lady who's fallen down. Now, if you saw her, because you're not a narcissist, you have emotional empathy for that little old lady. And immediately you think, oh, she's fallen, she's been hurt, she'll need help. And you rush across. In fact, you go across to it without even giving a second thought to it, because you have that impulsive response to assist, driven by your emotional empathy. I don't have that. But what I have is cognitive empathy. So I would recognize, the lady's fallen over, the expression on her face tells me that she's in pain. That therefore means that she would probably need some help. Shall I help her? If I deem it appropriate for me to help her because it would benefit me, I will. If I've got something better to do, I'd walk past her. Because I have no conscience, no emotional empathy, no remorse, no guilt. So similar.
Okay, I hope you all are hearing this because I've been on YouTube since 2008. I've been helping people that are in relationships with narcissists. And the one thing that blows everybody's mind that is in these types of relationships is, I don't understand. We had all these meaningful moments. How can he just leave me? How can he treat me this way? How can she do this to me? Because, newsflash, important 3 words, they don't care. They don't care. I know that is a foreign concept to those of us that do care and have empathy. They do not care. They cannot care. There is no wiring in their heads, hearts, bodies, whatever, to care about you. They don't care. They just don't give a rip. And the sooner people realize that, the sooner they will leave these kind of abusive situations when it's safe to get out of them. And he just admitted that. Old lady falls in the road. Those of us with empathy, and he missed a part because, well, if he is a narcissist, this would make sense why he missed this part. When an old lady falls down and they're sitting there, what I'm thinking is, oh my gosh, she must be in pain. That must hurt so bad. I bet she skinned her knees. And I'm feeling that pain. I'm feeling that broken hip. Like, I'm literally taking that on myself. He has no concept of that. He's just cognitively, as he said, cognitively, like with his brain going, oh, an old lady fell. Should I help her? Nah, I think I'll go and play pool or go to the movies, whatever, because he is also a psychopath. And not only that, he might walk by and laugh at her. I don't know if he's going to cover that part, but I'm just explaining to you what I know about narcissists and psychopaths. They don't care. They find it amusing when you're hurt. In fact, they'll hurt you more just to laugh at you and watch you squirm. They're awful.
When it comes to love, love is not all of those flowery manifestations that I've just described, but it is founded on emotional empathy. Now, people who are empathic are not saints. They make mistakes. And they make mistakes primarily because their emotional empathy has been eroded as a consequence of an external stressor.
Now, I also want you to notice something here. He was very quickly to say people who are empathic are not perfect. They make mistakes. So he has to kind of throw us under the bus a little bit. He's got to make sure he points out that we have flaws. And good narcissists and psychopaths, not that they're good, but, the accurate narcissist and psychopath is going to be very quick to make sure he lets you know that you're not perfect. You have flaws. You're not perfect. You make mistakes. You sin. You do this. You do that. The accuser of the brethren, basically, is what the Bible calls it. And narcissists are very good at that. But he jumped right in and said that. It's basically his way of discrediting the fact that we have empathy, that we do love, that we do have emotional connections with people. Because to them, and he'll probably talk about this later, that's a weakness. When you care about somebody, to a narcissist, it's like, what is wrong with you? Oh my gosh, quit your blubbering. Why is everything such a big deal to you? Yeah. Continue. Sorry, narcissists disgust me. So, continue.
Bereavement, loneliness, fatigue, drink, drugs, but primarily abuse. So that's why you will get some people who think to themselves, well, I'm behaving like the narcissist. And all that's happening is, as you are a bundle of empathic narcissistic traits, is that when you're being abused by our kind, your emotional empathy for your abuser reduces, and you may well fight back. And that's why you find yourself possibly acting in that way. If your emotional empathy was not eroded, you, as a matter of course, do not go around manipulating people, because it is not part of your skill set, but it is for the narcissist. So when it comes to love, we are incapable of it. But what we do is we commune, because we're very good at demonstrating the manifestations of what people think for them.
Okay, here's what I don't like about what he said. You don't manipulate people. You don't hurt people because it's not part of your skill set. That's not about a skill set, HG Tutor. That's about a heart. That's about loving people. That's about a genuine thing that connects in you that, oh my gosh, I care about people. I don't want that person to hurt. I don't want them to struggle through life. That's not a skill set. Oh God. Like I said, narcissists disgust me. The mindset of a narcissist just is despicable to me. Sorry, y'all. You're going to see me get emotional because this is touching very close to home many times over.
Actually is. And so people are duped.
So when you're in a relationship with a woman, let's say, we're going to use you as an example. So this woman is in love with you and she's telling you how much she loves you and adores you. And you're at that moment when you haven't come to the point where you want to disengage and get rid of that woman. You're just using that woman to fuel your narcissism, to fuel yourself. So it's all just a big game, right? You.
You've got to distinguish between me as a self-aware narcissist and the majority of narcissists. And in a sense, it's best for me to talk about the majority, because that's who most people listening will actually come across. Because many people make the mistake of thinking that the narcissist is aware of what he's doing and is calculating his behaviors. Most narcissists aren't. And people really struggle to grasp this concept. They struggle because they impose their own worldview on that of the narcissist. We have a completely different perspective to you. We see the same things, but we see thing as an objective reality. Everything that you smell, taste, hear, feel is an interpretation by your brain from external stimuli. So, simple example, you and I can look at the car and say, look, HG, that red sports car. I go, yes, it's red. But my version of red is your version of yellow. We see it the same way. But we see the same thing and describe it the same way, but see it differently rather. And the narcissism is similar. We see everything in terms of control at an unconscious level. So if I was to give you some spectacles to get you narc vision, everything you would see would be a matrix of control, percentages of control. And every single act of the narcissist is either a benign manipulation, complimenting you, giving you some flowers, taking you to the cinema, taking you out for a nice meal, or a malign manipulation, word salad, triangulation, physical abuse, sexual abuse, silent treatments, all of the various malign manipulations that people may have experienced or heard about or read about. And everything we say I'll do is a form of manipulation because what is central to our existence is control. So when somebody comes along who is a romantic partner, our narcissism basically says this in our voice. This person is an appliance to control. The best way to secure control over this person is to use love, sex, and intimacy, because those are weapons of mass seduction. And so we go in with this behavior, and the narcissist has an infatuation with this individual. Because the narcissist is driven by this belief that you are the one. You're perfect, you're wonderful, because you're painted white. And so the narcissist has to secure control of you very quickly. Because remember, our existences are predicated on the need for control and fuel. Why? We were born out of a lack of control environment. So in the way that dogs will hear frequencies that we can't, we as narcissists are hypersensitive to issue control, where you as non-narcissists aren't. So when you do certain things, the narcissist's subconscious antennae picks up on it as a threat to control. So if somebody didn't speak to you, you shouted at them across the street, and they didn't respond, you would probably think, oh well, probably didn't hear me, you've gone about your day. Or you would think, well, that's not rude of them. But no matter, they have their reasons. If you do that to a narcissist, you wound us. That's the worst thing that you can do to us. Because you're not providing us with fuel, and your act of wounding us threatens our sense of control. We don't have.
Okay, hang on a minute, because I want to talk about this. This is important. This goes on YouTube, people. Say you have a friend, okay, and you call them every day and you talk to them and you're, in a really close relationship with them, whatever, and it seems to be going okay. And then, life happens. Somebody gets sick, you're in the hospital every day with them, whatever. If you are in a relationship with a narcissist, they take this as a narcissistic injury. A normal friend will say, oh my gosh, we'll say it's your son in the hospital. Is your son okay? Is everything going okay? Let me know how it goes. A narcissist will be like, why didn't you call me? Well, because of my son, he's in the hospital. I know, but why didn't you call me? You had a phone. You couldn't have been that busy. What's the matter with you? I thought we have a close friendship. Close friends will make sure that they call their friend. Why did you do that to me? That's the difference. Enough said on that. Borderlines too, not just narcissists do that.
And therefore, our instinctive response, where it is a less mid-range narcissist, is control has to be asserted over you instantaneously. Why? Because narcissism is a self-defense mechanism. In the same way that you are all listening to me now, none of you are saying, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, or telling your hearts to come. They are unconscious actions going on in the background. Narcissism is exactly the same. And it's instantaneous, so that if that person ignores us, the narcissism, if it had a voice, would say something like this. Major alert, appliance over there has ignored us. When there's assert control over that individual, best thing to do is, in this circumstance, is to insult them. So the narcissist will shout, oi, big nose, control is being gathered. And so the narcissist is then encouraged. So when you say to the narcissist, I love you, you're providing us with fuel, pure positive fuel. We feel in control of you. If you say to us, where have you been? You should have been here 4 hours ago. You're giving us fuel because your anger, your irritation is fuel. But you're threatening our control because you're suggesting we've done something wrong. And if you ignore us, or you don't reply to our telephone call, or you fail to respond to the text message, or you forget our birthday, that wounds us. And you make us feel powerless. Many people will find that quite extraordinary, but that's how it functions for a narcissist. But most of this is unconscious. And so the narcissist doesn't understand that he needs control. He just thinks you're a bad person and will articulate any reason which ranges in levels of plausibility dependent upon the type of narcissist you're dealing with. So some narcissists can be very plausible. So they may give an explanation as to their behavior. And that's obviously when people find not really sure and they start doubting themselves. Where they think, oh, he said to me that he was angry because I did this. And you think, did I do that? I'm not sure whether I did or not. In other instances, you know that you didn't. And you're thinking, why on earth is he accusing me of this? Now, most narcissists are not stood there laughing into their sleeve, thinking, I've just told her a barefaced lie. They actually believe that lie because their narcissism rewrites history and rewrites the narrative. So a narcissist will say, I told you this last week. And you go, no, you didn't. The narcissist genuinely believes in that moment that he did tell you that last week. But it's all about controlling you.
Okay, you just mentioned if someone forgets about your birthday. In one of your videos I was listening to, you say that narcissists on purpose will destroy all of your holidays, your birthday, everything. Why do they do that? Why do they do that?
Well, it all depends on where you are in the dynamic. So, to begin with, we come along by pouring sugar on you, as you know, to seduce you. Because if I walked into a lady in the bar and said, hello, my name's H.G. Tudor, I'm an narcissistic psychopath, and I abuse people, she'd run away from me screaming. And that's no good, I've automatically lost control. So I'm interesting and charming and pleasant, etc. And so that's how narcissists bring you in. So to begin with, you're painted white. So everything about you is painted white. But then, if you threaten our control in some way, which might be because you don't do what we want, or you inadvertently ignore us, or you ask a question which you think is innocent, but it is not from the perspective of narcissist, you become painted black. And as people will recognize, you're either white or you're black, there's nothing in between. So when you're painted black, everything associated with you is bad. So if you're painted black and it's your birthday, then we don't want to know about your birthday and you'll be spoiled. Because we have no emotional empathy for how it would make you feel. And control is the central thing that we have to have. When you're painted white, you get a magnificent birthday. And with a bell of the ball, and we treat you really nicely. But partway through, you might do something which threatens our control. You become painted black.
Okay, hang on a second, y'all, because I want to explain, share a story a little from my life. My former narcissist, the pastor's daughter, the mentor, painted me white when she first met me. She bought me clothing. She paid for my train ticket, my plane ticket to come and see her in another state. Took me shopping. We had a girly day, as she called it. She was a female narcissist. As soon as I started noticing when I was staying at her house, how she was manipulating people and how they were bowing down to her like she was some kind of a god and a goddess, I pointed it out to her immediately. I was painted black. I was accused of everything from putting witchcraft on her house and sending a great bird to watch her as she walked through her trailer, to manipulating her children against her, to eating all of the food in her house when she had put me on a diet while I was there and told me I couldn't eat anything other than what her husband ate. He was a bodybuilder, very fit man. So I didn't touch any food unless I was allowed to, but yet I was accused of stealing a whole basket full of candy bars. I was put down because I didn't appreciate the difference between Dove and Godiva chocolate. I was painted black. And eventually I was told point blank to my face, I don't like you. In fact, I can't stand you. There you go. What he's saying played out in my own life in the past. Here we go.
Oh, something to around to see kissing your sister, triangulating you. Such a blatant act, so you get upset. Your act of being upset signals to us that we've got control over you again. And so it very much depends. You can be black, white, many times a day. So if you're painted white and it's your birthday, you'll have a super birthday, unless something happens which causes you to be painted black. If you're painted black and it's your birthday, it'll be forgotten about, or it'll be ruined, or it'll be a scene. It all depends upon the type of narcissist that you're dealing with and how that narcissist manipulates. Lesser narcissists are like wrecking balls, physically violent, no awareness whatsoever, will just look at you when you're crying as if to say, what's the matter? Mid-range narcissists blend in better, they're more passive-aggressive. So they operate a facade, so they're less likely to punch you in front of a group of people, but they'll sit and sulk instead. When they're asked what's wrong, their narcissism will fabricate a response which makes you feel like you've done something wrong. And so that you then have to fuss around with the narcissist to cure the imaginary ill. But of course, in the world of the narcissist, you've offended the controls. So the point is that your status of black or white, changes very often, and you will probably not even know what you've done to cause it, because you don't have our perspective. What makes it doubly difficult is you are part of a fuel matrix, which means all the people that we interact with, be it the wife, friends, family, mistress, the man selling a hot dog on the corner of the street, are part of a narcissist fuel matrix who are drawn on at different levels of potency and frequency. And what happens with one appliance can impact upon you. So let's say you have a narcissist who is married. Initially, the wife was painted white, then her fuel becomes stale, so she's devalued. And the intimate partner primary source, which is my terminology for a long-term partner that you live with, or you're married to, will always be devalued in the way that the sun will always rise in the east. Devaluation will come visible. And so when that person's devalued, the narcissist will start to look around for a replacement, not consciously, but unconsciously, and will have an affair. It might be a sexual one, it might be an emotional affair, an intellectual one, or a financial one, but there'll be a form of infidelity involved.
Now, I want to say also, this also happens in friendships. Like if you're a friend with a narcissist and all of a sudden they decide that you're not worshiping the ground they walk on, they will replace you with somebody new. That's what happened to me. The best friend who I had before I met this narcissist lady, the mentor, we had a problem because this best friend was borderline. And after we split up, after almost 3 years of a really close friendship where I kind of was her pastor, and she was, to me, just my friend, but she worshipped everything I said and constantly wanted me to read the Bible to her and explain it to her and whatever. Eventually, I went to her house and found out she had borderline personality disorder, which I already knew. But I mean, I saw it manifested, and I began telling people to pray for her. But instead of praying for her, they went to her and told her that I had said she had stuff wrong, and her husband got upset with me. She got upset with me. The friendship ended. You thought she was my mentor. Yeah, she was my mentor. Not this lady. This was a different lady. The borderline was a different lady. She wasn't my mentor. I was her mentor. Then along comes the mentor, takes me under her wing, and rescues me from this borderline lady, only to replace me with the borderline lady later on in the relationship. So for a long time, it was basically talking to her about how awful this borderline person treated me, blah, blah, blah. And then what she began doing, this was very crafty on her part. She's a very honed narcissist that was very good at what she did. She would get me to impersonate the borderline lady so that she could learn in her mind how not to behave around the borderline lady when she took her on as the friend. So let me explain this because I know it's confusing. We're going to say Mary was the borderline, Susie was the narcissistic mentor, okay? So Mary and I are friends, blah, blah, blah. Things happened like I told you. Mary and I are no longer friends. Along comes Susie. Susie says, oh, I'll help you through your sadness over the breakup with your friend Mary. Next thing I know, Susie says, how did Mary say that? Do that again. Come on, show me how she said that. And then I would imitate Mary for Susie. Meanwhile, Susie's taking mental stock, which, by the way, most narcissists that I've met have amazing memories. So she's taking mental stock of everything I'm saying, only so that she can use it later when she gets in a relationship with my former friend Mary, so she knows how not to act around Mary. That way, if Mary and I talk again, and I say, Mary, did she do this to you? No, she never acted that way. I can't imagine her doing that. They're very crafty people. They are very, very good at what they do. Mirroring study. Yes. Yes, very much. And because I'm such a good impersonator and I can imitate people's voices, I had Mary down pat. So Susie got a real good training lesson from me without me knowing I was training her. So then flash forward a couple years when Mary and I start talking again, Mary never saw that side of Susie that abused me. Susie was very careful not to show that side to Mary. However, Susie made the mistake, as so many narcissists do, and took Mary's daughter under her wing and acted like that with her daughter. So Mary said, I did see some of that behavior. She didn't do it to me, but she did do it to my kid. So there you go. Triangulation is what they call it, when one friend plays this friend against that friend. Or in a marriage, the husband may talk to the wife's sister and turn her against the wife. Narcissists are excellent at what they do. Here we go.
If that mistress is then painted white, if that mistress rejects the control of the narcissist in some way, that then becomes painted black. The wife wishes to be painted white, and the narcissist is nice to her again. And she just thinks, oh, perhaps because I made a mistake and chips this evening, it's his favourite meal, everything's all right again. It's nothing to do with that. It's to do with events that she probably doesn't know about. And it's wheels within wheels. And this underpins the idea that basically when you realise what you're dealing with, stop it. Go no contact and get away. Because if you think that you can somehow try and manage us, you've got two fundamental problems. One, we are designed to be the controllers, not the controlled. You are trying to control something which is engineered to reject that control, designed and created that way. And secondly, because you don't necessarily know who's in our fuel matrix, and you don't know whether those people are painted black or white, and indeed you may not realise what you're painted, you're trying to do a jigsaw puzzle with several of the pieces missing. So there's two fundamental reasons you're on a fool's errand if you think you can manage a relationship with us. And that's why you should never attempt to do so and get away from it as quickly as you possibly can.
Yes, I have to say, the best thing to do if you are in a relationship with a narcissist, if you possibly can, is get away from them, including some borderlines that are very close to the line of narcissism. When I find out that somebody's trying to control me, guilt me, do the whole, oh, you didn't take my phone call, or you don't care about me, blah, 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 guilt trip stuff, I'm out of Dodge. I am gone. I will pull away so fast your head will spin. I am not going to allow somebody that control over me ever again. And people know this about me and have felt that about me. They're like, man, you just like poof, you were gone. You just pulled right away and disappeared. Yep, I'm going to cut you off cold till you can give me my space and respect my boundaries. I will always be that way. I don't care what you think of me as far as that. And I'm not a narcissist, but I don't care that you get upset with me because I won't let you control me. I'm not going to, and neither should anybody else. You have to have that balance in relationships, or it's a mess. Hi, sweetie.
Okay, I have an interesting question from someone. It says, are narcissists beneficial to society, or should we just should we all just ship them to an island with no contact with anyone other than other narcissists?
Well, most people who've been the victims of a narcissist would agree with the sentiment that line them all up and shoot them, line up against one, shoot them, or ship us away to that island. Of course, two fundamental problems with that. The first is a practical one. Spotting us. It's not as easy as people might think. But leaving that aside, do we serve a useful role? Yes. Many of you may well be accessing this on an Apple device. And that company was essentially founded by a narcissist, Steve Jobs. Many of the captains of industry, the pop stars that you listen to, the film stars that entertain you, the politicians who most people probably do without many of those, but many of the people, not all, but many of the people that get to these positions are narcissists. Now, there are a heck of a lot of narcissists who are absolutely no use at all to society. Criminals, the pedophiles, the whining baby office politician at work. But there's many narcissists who are very good at what they do because of that need for control. And so the narcissist is driven to invent, create, build up industries, build up businesses. So in a sense, if you have the misfortune to have one in your family or have an intimate relationship with one, that's a very difficult situation. But if you have an arm's length relationship through the provision of services, products and entertainment, much of that comes from narcissists. In that instance, you actually benefit from our narcissism because of what it helps us achieve.
I hope you guys heard that. The entertainment, as people have been arguing with me, no, that's entertainment. A lot of that is produced by narcissists. Disney, a lot of the Netflix, a lot of videos, obviously. Much of your entertainment, the producers are narcissists. Keep that in mind. That explains why there's not a whole lot of God-centered entertainment out there, doesn't it? Or we'll say spiritual-centered, or altruistic, or wholesome entertainment. This is H.G. Tudor, Melissa. He has his own channel because, of course, he has to have his narcissistic supply coming in. And that's part of supply is having your own channel. That's why some people think I'm a narcissist. But I'm not. Never been diagnosed, don't have the traits. So here we go. Continuing.
Okay, here's a very interesting question for you. And I would say that for you personally, if you could take a pill and wake up the next day as a supernova empath, would you take that pill?
No, one, there's no such thing as a supernova empath. It's a super empath. Going supernova is an event. So just to clarify that.
Okay.
People who made that mistake.
Okay.
But that's fine. No, I wouldn't. I'm perfectly content with what I am.
Okay. Okay. Can a person who is not a narcissist manipulate the narcissist?
No. Going back to the point that I made earlier, you are attempting to control something that is not to be controlled. If you think that you've successfully manipulated a narcissist, one of three things has happened. One, you're a narcissist. Two, you have attempted to do so in circumstances where you're not a narcissist and your emotional empathy has been eroded, so you fight back, what I was talking about earlier. Or three, you think you've manipulated the narcissist, but you haven't. The narcissist has done it because the narcissist wanted to do it. Because if you secure an outcome that you want and the narcissist does so, it's only because the narcissist wants it as well. And you might be misled into thinking that you've achieved that. And if ultimately, does it really matter? No, because you've got the outcome. But the problem is your prospects of successfully causing a narcissist to do something by attempted manipulation or persuasion are very low indeed, the reasons I've explained. And the problem is that you as non-narcissists, you're not designed to manipulate. I do it through calculation and instinct. Most narcissists do it instinctively. You don't manipulate instinctively, which means you're not very good at it. So it's a little bit like, for example, a Premiership footballer. He is very good at football because he's instinctively natural at what he does. He doesn't think about where he needs to be on pitch, he just goes. His timing is superb. He knows how to strike the ball. He could tell you what to do, but because you have to think about it before you do it, you'd be too slow and you wouldn't be effective. So people who are not narcissists are not naturally manipulative because you don't need to be. It's not part of your self-defense mechanism. If you think you can manipulate a narcissist, get rid of that thought immediately because you're being misled by your emotional thinking into continuing to interact with the narcissist. You, as non-narcissists, have bundles of empathic traits: honesty, decency, love, levity, strong moral compass, truth seeker. You also have narcissistic traits: pride, envy, possibly infidelity, jealousy, anger. But your narcissistic traits are kept in check by your empathic traits. But sometimes, because your emotional empathy is eroded, those empathic traits recede like a tide going out, leaving the rocks of your narcissistic traits. And that's what can lead to you fighting back against the narcissist. So you might try and manipulate the narcissist, but you won't succeed. You might fight back and wound or challenge the narcissist and cause the narcissist to have to break off from you because you're repeatedly wounding the narcissist. But if you think that you can secure an outcome with the narcissist through manipulation, you can't. The only way.
Okay, hold on. I'll let him continue on that vein because he's long-winded, obviously. I said what I needed to last night. They can get over their fake BS and... Oops, hold on. I totally missed your comment there. I'm trying to keep up on your comments too, but this is kind of hard. 45, they treat me like a bad girl. Yeah. And very often when you come from a narcissistic family, and I say family loosely because what it is a dysfunctional group of people. It's not really a family. When you go back there, you turn right into that child again. I've watched this happen with people that were raised by narcissists. And I can tell you something, in all honesty, if Susie, the narcissistic mentor in my past, came back, as she did a couple years ago, I talked to her quite a bit at length on Facebook. I felt the same exact way as when I was in her presence before. I could feel that same pull. I could feel her trying to manipulate me. I could feel that control all over again. Now, this type of relationship, not relationship, but interaction with her was for her to come back and let me ask her questions about, why did you treat me that way? What made you act like that? Why did you get so cold? Oh, no problem, buttermilk. And by the end of the conversation, yes, I got a lot of answers. Now, I'm not sure how much of it was true. A lot of it was, well, my husband at the time was telling me I couldn't be your friend. He controlled all my friendships. Now, I kind of could see that a little bit, but she still had a choice to be mean to me or not. And she said she did. She said, I own that. I take ownership of that. I was cruel to you, and it was terrible, and it was uncalled for, and I'm apologizing for it. And, you know, I was wrong, and I just moved on with my life, and a lot of things have changed. And she kind of, in a roundabout way, was sort of like, yeah, I hurt you. I get it. I am sorry. But at the same time, you know, I don't want a relationship with you. I don't want to rekindle that, etc. And that hurt me again, because it was like, oh, you know, she feels sorry and I feel bad, you know, that she was going through stuff with her husband, and we're talking now. Maybe we can work it out and do it the right way this time. Maybe we can be friends again and everything will be okay. And just as quick as she came back, all apologetically explaining all this stuff, she cut me off. She blocked me from contacting her, stopped talking to me. So they still have the upper hand. Even if they come back into your life, you're going to feel that same feeling of, oh, we're close again. Boom, you're gone. Yep, manipulative, abuse, all over again. Now, she's remarried. She's not with the husband she was with. And she seems pretty happy. Of course, I don't live there, so I'm not behind closed doors. I don't know if she's trying to manipulate her husband or her stepkids or what. I don't know anything about her. She doesn't talk to me. I don't talk to her. But the point is, you still will feel that pull. don't kid yourself and think that you can go back into a relationship with a narcissist and you're going to do it right this time. You guys can be friends now and it's going to be okay. Not until and unless they are totally rid of those behaviors. And as I told you, the only way that's going to happen is yank them out of that marriage, away from those kids, lock them up in a facility for months at a time, and totally rid them of all supply. Anybody saying, oh, you look nice today, or wow, you're really intelligent, all of that has to cut off completely. Completely. This is a former mentor of mine that I'm talking about from back in the early 2000s. Anyway, so, and what's interesting is this person was a preacher. She did YouTube videos, or not YouTube videos, sorry, other videos at the time. She's an amazing preacher, and if what she said was truth, she would be very helpful to people in their lives. She has taught me a few things. They're not total like wash-ups that they have no knowledge. They're very intelligent people and very, very skilled and talented people, narcissists. That's why, yeah, ridding society of them, probably not a good idea. Putting them in check when they're in like leadership positions, like as managers, as bosses, as CEOs, very necessary, but hardly ever done because it's very difficult to work with these people and it's very difficult to put them in check and balance. All right. Yeah, don't work with friends, family, exactly. All right, let's go back to HG. Sorry, I just had to throw that in there to let you know that if they do come back after being gone for a while, you will have the same stuff, the same feelings, the same manipulation, the same control, the same narcissism.
The way you can secure things is to use external mechanisms such as the law. So if the narcissist owes you money and you've got a good case, get a lawyer, get into court, get a judgment. You want to sort it out with the narcissist with regards to dealing with children, get them into court, get a court order and have that enforced. Do not think that you can persuade the narcissist. Do not think that you can threaten the narcissist. Because all of your actions, even if you're doing something pleasant for the narcissist and something that you regard as constructive, and if you will, you're trying to manipulate us by pouring sugar on us, we instinctively recognize what you're doing. You're trying to control us, and therefore you are offending our core principle, and we must reject it.
In one of your videos, I was listening to the one where you were talking about disengaging with someone that you've been in a relationship, where you said things like, okay, so the woman goes to kiss you, and you kiss her on the forehead, or you're lying in bed and you turn your back on her, and she's thinking it's screening time. And so why do you go through all of those channels? Why not, if you're not happy anymore or you're not getting the fuel that you've been getting, why not just walk away? Why does the narcissist have to do that to a person? Like you even said, what you do as an analogy is like taking your head, putting it under water. You're not going to drown them completely to death, but you're going to suck the life out of them as much as you can. Why not? Why can't a narcissist just walk away if they're no longer getting the fuel from that person?
Okay. Just to make a distinction when you say not getting the fuel, I think what you actually mean to say is, why is it not as potent as it once was? Because this is an important distinction, Diane.
Okay, did you guys catch that? He just told her what she means to say. I think what you mean to say is, that's not how you approach somebody that's asking you a question, unless you are a narcissist. You might say, I think what you're saying is, but I think what you mean to say. In other words, he's going to tell her, this is what you wanted to say. This is what you really meant to say. And the one thing I will tell you that HE double hockey sticks comes up in my mind where I want to say that word is, who the do you think you are telling me what I meant to say? Oh, this guy infuriates me. And no, I will not do a collab with him because he would chew me up and spit me out. I can already tell you that because he would know exactly how to manipulate me because I'm an empath. He's skilled at what he does. And I do believe he's a narcissist just by the fact of the skin crawling feeling I'm getting doing this type of video. I'm glad I'm only doing a video and not face to face with them or something. Ugh.
a couple of extra things in the primates. But let's just focus on fuel control. So 70% comes from the primary source. Let's say 20% comes from 10 friends, or could you call them family members, secondary sources. So they all provide roughly 2% each. And then the balance of the 10 comes from 10 tertiary sources, strangers, acquaintances, all with 1% each. If the narcissist decides to get rid of that primary source, he suffers an immediate drop in his fuel by 70%. Okay? So when your positive fuel becomes stale, and it will, or when you're the primary source, you're not providing us with enough fuel in terms of amount or frequency, devaluation sets in. And it's a very valid question. Why not just jettison you at that point? Well, the problem is, everything has been hunky-dory up to that point. If we let you go as soon as you're painted black, we have a huge hole in our fuel matrix. So what we do is shift to devaluation instinctively, majority of narcissists, so that the negative fuel that you give, your upset, your hurt, your anger, contrasts and is fresh to us once again. You give us a new lease of life through your misery, your pain, your hurt, your anger. While you're in devaluation, you're painted black, this is when the narcissist starts the hunt for your replacement. Sometimes it doesn't happen immediately, but it will. Sometimes there is never a replacement, and so people are stuck if they don't escape. They go through this cycle of respite period where they're painted white and the narcissist present to them again for an afternoon or 2 weeks or a few days, it varies. And then back into devaluation. That's the roller coaster that they go down in. And that can go on for decades.
Did you hear that? That can go on for decades. So those of you that are married to narcissists, that are just staying there because you think it's going to get better. I'm not talking about those of you that are sick and you depend on them because you have who knows what, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, some kind of debilitating disease where they pay the money for your hospital bills. You're kind of stuck. Unfortunately, you just are. I'm talking about people that are staying in relationships with narcissists that are doing these things he's talking about when you could legitimately get out of them. You need to leave. He is not changing unless, like I told you, you are going into a isolated situation where they lock them up and pretty much throw away the key until they are unbrainwashed from their narcissism and they begin to actually feel feelings of positivity, empathy, emotional connection with people. And that can take a long time. He said decades. Thank you, Breezy. That's what I'm getting at. Decades. Do you want to spend 20, 30 years with a narcissist for the rest of your life? I mean, that's something only you can answer. I'm not saying you should or, telling you what to do. Well, I am telling you what to do. Get out. But, I mean, I can't control that. I can't come there and pack your bags for you and move you out or pack his bags and kick him out because narcissists don't leave. When I told my ex I was leaving him because I found out he was narcissistic and abusing me all those years, he said, well, if anybody divorces, it's going to be you that files because I'm not doing it because I follow the Bible and the Bible says till death do us part. So you can leave and you can be the bad guy. And literally that's what he does to me is paints me as the bad guy to my kids. And, so anyway, if you're stuck, be as gray rock with them as possible. Get support from YouTube. Yeah, people that you trust. Yeah, be careful you don't hook up with narcissists on YouTube too, though. There's a lot of them on here and borderlines that are not getting the proper help. So you need to be careful of that. But yeah, it's as simple and as complicated as that. Do not stay with them. They're talking decades of this kind of behavior and treatment to you. Are you someone that really wants to live a healthy, fulfilling life? Then you don't want to stay with this type of person, period. Not long term.
But commonly, when you become painted black, the narcissist starts to hunt for your replacement. And if one is found, and that person who is an intimate partner secondary source, namely the mistress, the booty call, the chap on the side, the other man, the other woman, they, if they are catering for those time aims, and the narcissist instinctively recognizes this. It's not done like some conscious checklist. They then get promoted to the primary source, and it is at that point we get rid of you, because it's like continuous fueling of, say, a racing car. It's getting fuel from this one, that fuel reserves are about to run out, not a problem. We can take it from this one here straight away. In the same way, it's seamless. So we don't get rid of you at the point of devaluation, because that would puncture massive hole in the fuel matrix. We need to have a replacement lined up. And when we instinctively recognize that that replacement is good and solid, you're out, they're in, there's no hole. That 70% goes and is then immediately replaced by the new 70%.
So basically, the narcissist is no dummy. They are not going to ditch you and not have somebody to take your place. It's kind of like breaking a habit. And I always tell people this because I'm a substance abuse trained counselor. That's what my master's degree is in. You cannot break a habit and not have something new to go to. And narcissists know this because they suffer narcissistic injury when they finally devalue you and you leave. If you leave on your own, they definitely feel narcissistic injury. And then they have to try to get you back. They have to punish you. They have to do all that kind of stuff. And that wears them out. And then they're like, well, I got to do something easier than this, because they're also basically lazy, a lot of them, as far as procuring their narcissistic supply source. So basically, when Susie did what she did to me, I remember saying to her, and I was at her trailer at this point, I said, I feel like a vase or a vase, if you will, that you just put up on a shelf and forget about until you need to pull me down off of that shelf again. And I remember her looking at me going, what are you talking about? A vase? I don't ever treat you like that. Yeah, you really do. When it's convenient for you, you talk to me, you include me, you engage me. But when I don't serve whatever purpose you like, or I don't appreciate Godiva chocolate over Dove chocolate or whatever, then you put me back up on the shelf and you totally just ignore me and forget that I'm even there. And that was when I really started realizing, hey, I'm disposable. I'm replaceable. I'm dispensable. And not only that, I am disposable, dispensable, and replaceable without so much of an even second thought. Now, that's the difference between borderlines and narcissists, in my opinion, is that when a borderline loses you, oh my gosh, they just pine away and cry and try to beg you to come back and whatever. With a narcissist, once they're really done with you and they've replaced you, or they've devalued you to the point where you're nothing to them but an object, literally, well, you are anyway to a narcissist, but I mean really, like you don't exist. You're just this board or a wall or like a vase. At that point, the narcissist literally forgets every memory you ever had. They forget every good thing you ever did for them. It's as if it never happened. What are you talking about? I never did that. What do you mean? We never went there. What are you talking about? To the point where you almost start believing them and go, wait, well, maybe we didn't go there. Oh, maybe I didn't say that. Maybe you didn't do that. Maybe we didn't share that moment. They will literally, I remember Susie saying to me, we had gone to a cabin with this other lady, and it was a disaster. I won't get into all that because I made a video about that a long time ago, and I don't know if it's up or not. But anyway, I remember her saying how the cabin was a disaster, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, so I don't want to do that again. She's like, oh, no, we can do it again. If you want me to, I can just like erase it as if it never happened. And I'm like, what? You can erase it? What do you mean? She said, just exactly what I said. It's as if it never was. It just, we'll never talk about it again. It will just go away. It never happened. There was no cabin. There was no other person. There was none of this. And when I heard her say that, it wasn't like your casual friend saying, oh, we'll just forget about it. You know, it's okay, whatever. It was literally like, and I can't explain this to a way that you will understand that this was very real. She literally had the ability to erase people from her mind. I mean, as if she never knew them. not their name, not situations around them, just as if they did not exist. And when a narcissist can do that to you and make you feel like you never existed, it's as if you're gone. You're like vapor. You just poof. You never were. And it's a really upsetting feeling to have when somebody can say that to you and you believe they're really going to do that. And they really can do that. It's creepy. Narcissists are creepy people. I don't like them. I don't want anything to do with them. Anyway, let's go. Yeah, they're very malignant. Very malignant.
But that's why devaluation occurs. It's done to freshen up the dynamic from our perspective so that your fuel remains potent and plentiful, but now it's negative fuel. And at this juncture, because you're painted black, your replacement can be sought for. And if they are found and brought under control, that is a disengagement trigger. People use the word discard for disengagement. And so you as the primary source, you're out and you're replaced by that new person. And that's why, if you're the victim of our kind and you're in that situation as primary source, you suddenly realise he's moved on to her really quickly. How did that happen? Well, because she's waiting in the wings. Or you might know that the narcissist has been having an affair or cheating. And then that person replaces you. And of course, the replacement, when they become the primary source, they'll go through exactly what you suffered. They'll get all the wonderful stuff, all the golden period of idealization, seduction, and then bang, into the devaluation they will go. And if a replacement is found, they'll be disengaged from. And on it goes, and on it goes.
Okay, we have a lot of women who were in a narcissistic relationship or married to a narcissist and have children with them. So, of course, the biggest thing for a person who's not a narcissist is to have no contact. But when you have children with that narcissist, it's difficult sometimes. So, how do you suggest for the women or men, either way, to really have the no contact, even though you do have a child?
Okay. I was explaining to people that the first golden rule of freedom is once you know you go, get out, you stay out. When you realise that person's a narcissist, you go. Now, there are many people who think, I can't do no contact for these reasons. Most of those reasons are invalid, and it's a product of emotional thinking calling you. Or they're semi-valid, it's difficult but not insurmountable. And people give up because they think that it can't be done. There are very few legitimate exceptions that exist to no contact. And one of them is the situation which relates to co-parenting. But it's not as wide within that co-parenting as you might think. If there is a court order which says you have to co-parent with the narcissist and interact with them in ways A, B, and C, you have to obey that court order. And so you are stuck with that situation until such time as you can utilise appropriate evidence, and often you can, to go back to court to change the terms of that order. But if there's a court order saying you've got to have certain forms of interaction with the narcissist, you can't disobey the court order. However, we're a long way from that part at the beginning of the interaction. You realise that you're with a narcissist. So you leave, take kids with you, or kick him out or her out. Sometimes easier said than done, but it happens. The starting point is that you say no, they are not having any interaction with the children. Now, I appreciate that in certain instances there may be legal ramifications from that, and you should take appropriate legal advice. But on the basis of that, your interests and those of the child are best served by ensuring that the narcissist has nothing to do with any of you. You should first of all be striving to keep that narcissist away. Because if you're dealing with a lesser narcissist, all you'll kick and scream to begin with. But eventually, if he can't engage with you because you've imposed a solid no contact regime, after a period of time he'll lose interest, and he may not even try to go to court. Then he'll just go off with the new floozy and leave you alone. Yes, he'll come back every once in a while to have a little sniff or a bite. But rather than fearing this narcissist, if you put in place a solid no contact regime, my look details how you do that and what no contact is, because most people don't actually understand what no contact is. And they mess it up because of the honest mistake caused by their emotional thinking. It's not to say that people are stupid, it's they are misled by misinformation and emotional thinking. Because your emotional thinking wants you to keep interacting with the narcissist, so it takes you down a wrong road. So you can you'll get a mid-range narcissist who keeps bringing stupid court applications, which cause him to run out of money. You don't do that because you think, well, I'll lose if I do that and I'll have a cost order against me. He's not thinking about the future of the cost order. He's thinking about controlling you now. And if bringing that court application against you at the moment allows him rather to get control of you, he'll do it. And of course, later on, when he's run out of money, his narcissism will just say, well, it's the victim of my ex-wife who was so awkward in the divorce proceedings. This is never our fault. What we can also do is utilize either by imposing it first and seeing if the narcissist tries to fight against it, or have it embodied in a court order. There's a whole range of options. I have a specific assistance package called How to Co-Parent with the Narcissist, which is chock full of detail, which tells you exactly how to deal with these situations, setting up gatekeepers, minimizing the level of interaction, reducing your emotional thinking so you don't react to the provocations, explaining to you what those provocations are. So it is not a hopeless situation that many people think that it is. You are led into thinking that because of misinformation and because your emotional thinking basically says to you, I can't succeed here. He's just going to keep causing me problems, or she's such an issue for me that I'm never going to be able to resolve this situation. You can.
Okay, he's talking about narcissists in court and regarding the children. There's a creator who have manipulated their channel and have cut off people who supported them. They're cold-hearted and just dropped friends, possibly a narcissist. Like I said, there are narcissists on YouTube, definitely. I've come across a few. Many times, narcissist support groups, like for people that have been abused by narcissists, turn out to be run by narcissists. So be careful. If you start seeing red flags, please leave. Don't stay in groups where you're uncomfortable, where you're sensing that the person themselves that is supposedly running the support group is a narcissist. Now, as I was saying, they were talking about court. Narcissists are very talented in court and are very convincing in court, unfortunately. Some of the saddest people I've ever run across are people that married narcissists and are now fighting for custody of their children because the narcissist will manipulate the court. And unfortunately, a lot of judges are not very well aware of this. Now they're becoming more aware. Narcissism is becoming more to the forefront. I mean, when I started on YouTube, like I said so many times, it was me, Sam Vaknin, and one other person that was even talking about narcissism. Now look, type in the word narcissist and see how many channels come up. I started in 2008. I was one of 3 people talking about narcissistic personality disorder. Now I see everybody and their brother has a channel on it. Thank God. I'm glad. I'm not like, oh, well, I'm the big one because I was here first. No, I was here first so that I could open up people's ability and desire to talk about it and expose it for what it is. Because these people really do exist. They really are out there hurting people in relationships. They are raising children. These are so-called parents raising children. A lot of them are narcissists, and the children become narcissists. It needs to be talked about. It needs to be exposed. And when it's going on online, it needs to be exposed. And that person needs to lose their supply, which means people need to get away from that person if they're controlling and manipulating people until they shape up. I've told friends recently, online, offline, if you're going to be kind to me and we're going to be able to have boundaries and we're going to be able to respect those boundaries, then I'll be the best friend you ever had. But if you start throwing me under the bus and mistreating me and saying lies about me and doing stuff that hurts me, I'm going to go poof. You won't see me, you won't hear from me until you shape up again. And with dealing with somebody that has borderline personality, it's ups and downs. Same thing with bipolars a lot of times. Narcissists a little more tricky. But borderlines, they will change. They'll be your friend, your enemy, your friend, your enemy. So when you're my friend, I'll be right there cheering you on, saying, hey, I'm glad you're having a great day. You look like you're really doing well. But you turn into my enemy, I'm gone till you shape back up again. That's going to be how it is in my life. Because I tolerated way too much baloney in my life in the past, and I'm not doing it anymore. So anyway, back to the court thing. you really need to, if you have to go to court and you have children you're fighting for, pray that you would get a Christian judge or a godly judge, or at least a judge that knows that this dude that you were married to is no good and is going to try to manipulate the system because they're good at what they do.
And you can get to the point of near total no contact. And my material lasts quite a long time that provides you this information. So I'm loath to go into the topic in any greater detail now, because I know there are other questions. But in essence, is to say this. Yes, it can be difficult, but it is not impossible. And I've set out for you ways that you can achieve that quite readily. Many of my
What happened here?
Clients, readers and listeners have utilised that material and have done so successfully, and it's really a huge burden.
Okay. I have another question. Are narcissists obsessed with looks and beauty? I heard you talking a little bit on another video about how, the selfies are, all over Instagram and people take pictures of themselves. Are those people narcissists, or do they think they're conceited, essential? I don't know the difference. I can't say that someone who takes a million selfies of themselves or a narcissist. But are you obsessed with narcissist with looks and beauty? Does it matter?
So, more accurately, we are obsessed with the notion of control. Because as I mentioned earlier, that is central to our existence. But most narcissists don't know that. How do we get control over you? Well, one way is to ensure that we are handsome, beautiful, ripped, buff, Botox to the hilt, laying on makeup, dressed stylishly, drive a flash car, eating expensive places, plastered all over social media. Because if we sashay up to you and look absolutely stunning and gorgeous, and then give you mind-blowing sex, what are we doing? We're controlling you. Because you fall for us. Some narcissists charm you. Some narcissists use their intellect to control you. Sex, looks, love, intimacy are used a lot, as I mentioned earlier, they're weapons of mass seduction. So, at a superficial level, certain narcissists, somatic ones and elite ones, elites are a combination of cerebral and somatic, do have what would appear to be an obsession with their looks and their image. But what it really is a manifestation of utilising those things to control victims. We must control you. So we will control you by being beautiful and handsome so that you fall for us. Or very complimentary, really helpful, really supportive. Or being fascinating, interesting characters that are well-travelled and well-read. Or we're proficient musically. And so the narcissist will create the veneer of those things, and it's superficial that you don't penetrate it because your own addiction to narcissists and empathic victims are addicted to us. We're addicted to controlling you. Means that you don't question, you don't cross-examine these behaviors, you take it at face value. And so you're subject to some narcissists will have an obsession with their looks, but it's actually one particular manifestation of the obsession with control. But that's what's at the heart of everything. If baking chocolate cake was the best way of controlling our victims, we would be the world's best maker of chocolate cakes. Whatever it takes to control you, looks, intelligence, music, interesting films, we will utilise it. And different categories, as I call them, are narcissists. So victim narcissists look for somebody to mother them, to take care of them, because there are some very caring empaths out there. Other narcissists somatic, so it's all about the selfies. It's all about the naked chest shots, bikini shots, the sex, buying the bling and the glamour things. Cerebral narcissists is all about the intellect, the music, science, and the elite combine somatic and cerebral traits. And those different types of category of narcissists align with the different schools. So you might get a lower narcissist who thinks he's the lover man, and thinks he's really good looking, but he's deluded, and he's not, bald and face, a bit of beer belly. And then you may get a mid-range narcissist who is very well dressed, has an excellent job, and is wealthy, and utilises those for the purpose of ensnaring the victim. And so it's
Okay, I don't want to give this person away. She sent me a question. She was in a very long relationship with a narcissist. Obviously, he cheated on her. She found out. They're no longer together. She says, I know I don't want him back, but I secretly hope he wants me back, just so I can tell him off. So here's my question for you to ask. What are some techniques to get the ex-narc boyfriend off of your mind?
Okay. The dynamic when you're with a narcissist, you fight two battles. The enemy without, keeping us away from you. The enemy within, keeping yourself away from the narcissist. And then, of course, many people who will say, I never want him to darken my doorstep ever again. No way would I ever end up in a relationship with him again. But what do you then go and do? You spend your time looking on his Facebook profile, see what he's putting on Twitter, see who's talking to him, who's liking. You sit outside his house in the car, see who's coming and going. You talk about him with your friends, if you heard what he's up to, who's he seeing, what she likes. You don't want to be with them. When you're thinking about the narcissist, you're talking about the narcissist, you're watching what the narcissist is doing. Those are all forms of interaction, and you're feeding your addiction. You're making your emotional thinking stronger, so it will keep you in the game. Because you are on the narcissist wheel of misery. It works like this. Your emotional thinking is high because you've been interacting regularly in lots of different ways with the narcissist. That means there's no room for logic. That means you'll be guided by emotional thinking, which means you'll interact more with the narcissist, which means then you keep your emotional thinking high. There's no room for logic. You'll be guided by emotional thinking. You'll interact more with the narcissist. Round and back it goes. How do you break that? Well, use my work. Build up your logic defenses and understand. No contact has to be the way to go. Stay away from the narcissist. Don't communicate with the narcissist. You don't need to know what the narcissist is doing. If you think that, you're being caught by your emotional thinking. Think of it this way. Imagine you're in your house and there's a burglar outside. Would you go outside and think, well, I need to know what the burglar's doing, so I'll search for him behind the trash cans, in the garden, and in the alleyway? Or would you sit in your house, lock all the doors and windows, have the Rottweiler ready, a shotgun, primed, CCTV on, and dial 911? You do the latter, wouldn't you? So,
Okay, think about this, because he's giving you some very good advice here, which if you listen to a narcissist, they always tell on themselves eventually. He's saying, don't come looking for me. Once we split up, don't look for me. Don't wonder what I'm doing. Don't wonder what I'm up to. Easier said than done, I know. Because when my narcissistic mentor broke up with me, left me, I always wondered what she was doing. I always wondered, is she happy? Is she doing well? Or is she miserable? And yeah, a part of me kind of wanted her to be miserable. It's very normal when somebody hurts you that deeply that you're sitting there thinking, man, if they could just feel 1 ounce of the pain they've caused me, just a little bit, just let me hurt them just a little. It's very normal to feel like that. It's not very godly to feel like that, but it's normal. And I think God understands, because he didn't create people to be mean and ugly and nasty and narcissistic. People created people to be that way. And sometimes chemicals in the brain create people to be like that. But God did not originally make people to go around hurting people. That wasn't his perfect plan. So yeah, if somebody hurts you that deeply, you're going to want revenge. That's going to be your probably third reaction. Your first reaction is going to be anger. Then you're going to be hurt. And then you're going to be like, I just want him or her to suffer. I just want to see them writhe just a little bit, like they made me squirm. Just want to see them a little intimidated, a little scared. It's normal. It's normal to feel that way. And it's very logical to feel that way, because we are self-preservers. Self-preservation is one of those things that, well, people that believe in evolution believe in it, obviously. But logic just tells you that you really want that person to hurt. You want them to suffer. But you know what? Even if they do, that's not going to undo the damage they did to you. It's not going to make you feel better, even though you think that it might. And maybe for a little while it might. But in the end, what you need to be doing is practicing self-care, self-love, claiming back who you were, maybe trying to be better than who you were, or finding who you are. Maybe you never knew who you were. Maybe you were raised in a family that never let you think for yourself. Maybe this is the first time in your life that you're actually getting to choose, hey, I like this kind of fish. I like to go here to this restaurant. I go to this cinema because I like this kind of movie. Maybe the narcissist told you, oh, you don't like those kind of movies. You don't like romantic movies. Let's go see this one. You don't like to eat fish. You like hamburgers. Now, for the first time in your life, after this narcissist disposed of you or you left, you're realizing, hey, what do I do now? You feel really disillusioned, like, where do I go from here? I can tell you where to go from there. Start finding you again. Start doing things for yourself. Be a little selfish. It's okay. God says love your neighbor as yourself. Well, you spent all this time trying to love who you thought was your neighbor, when really you should have been practicing self-love so you had something filled up on the inside to give out to the right person, not to the narcissist. So now it's time to start taking back who you are. Once they discard you and they've disposed of you and you're hurting, once you've healed and you've grieved and you've mourned, because you need to go through that first, then it's time to say, okay, it's just me, myself, and I. What do I like? What kind of movies do I like watching? What kind of food do I like? What's my favorite? Not what they told me was my favorite, not what they told me I like to do, but what do I like to do? And I'll tell you, it's not the easiest thing. If you're so used to putting all of your desires, hopes, dreams, and opinions on the back burner for this person, I understand, sweet. There's that too. We want them to change their way and, become better people. We do. But sometimes we just have to cut our losses, realize that it was unhealthy, toxic, and go our own separate ways, but find ourselves again, or for the first time. So let's get back to HG Tutor. But yeah, I just wanted to tell you, listen to what he's saying. He's telling you, get out. Don't stay in it. Stop trying to think that you're going to woo them back or that you even need to. I remember one person I life coached a while back was like, well, I'm not saying I'm going to do this, but what if I want him back? What if I want, I miss him. We had a really good romantic thing going. What if maybe I'm wrong? What if they're not this way? I used to just tell her, why would you want him back? Why? Do you not love yourself more than to go through that again? This person probably took him back because this person was pretty messed up. But yeah, it just, you don't need that. You don't deserve it. There's so much better stuff in life than being abused by somebody. All right, let's go back to the video.
Similarly with the narcissist, people think, I need to know what he's doing. Because if I know what he's doing, I can best defend myself. You don't. You stay away. You don't talk to your friends about it all. Why? Most of your friends are well-intentioned and try to help you. They won't understand. Very few will understand what narcissism is. And often, they'll get sick and tired of you going over and over and over about, he did this, he said that. And even though you don't want to spend any time with the narcissist, you're keeping him alive, or her alive, by talking about them. And then, as you say, thinking about the narcissist, and what you have to do, you have to cut down all those arenas that I mentioned, because getting the narcissist out of your head is the final battle. And there are a range of techniques which are too detailed for me to go into now, but the way that you go about it is, there are 5 arenas of interaction that I mentioned. You've got to close down the roots in all of those. First 4, and then there is the final battle, which is getting the narcissist out of your head. Now, there's another resistance package, which is called final battle. There's a range of techniques that you can utilize, and they work, that will stop you thinking about the narcissist. I give you the tools, you have to read them. You have to wield them, rather. You have to put in the hard work. I can't do it for you. It's a bit like exercising. You want to drop 3 stone, it's not going to happen overnight. Eat less, move more, over a series of months. I can tell you what to eat, I can tell you how to exercise, but you've got to do it all. But the difference is, because I understand my kind and your kind inside out, I can explain to you why you keep thinking about the narcissist, what the triggers are for that, and also the techniques that I explained to you to get them out of your head will also get rid of those old feelings of anger, misery, increasing your emotional thinking because you're interacting. You lose, he wins, because it's a zero-sum game. Understand all those arenas. First of all, and then you tackle the final one, final battle, which is bound thinking. Utilize those techniques, which discipline yourself to go to distractions and to use a process called triple reinforcement, which I describe in the work as well. And it will work. You get that emotional thinking down, you won't hate the narcissist anymore. You won't want to be back with the narcissist. You will feel nothing. And it gets you to a point that I call zero impact. And I help many people get to that point. It's massively liberating for you.
Look at that. The narcissist is actually helping people to not be affected by the narcissist. If that isn't a little bit of an oxymoron, I'm not sure what is. Thank you, Old News. I appreciate that. Somebody had said, well, Dee Dee, people have hurt you and treated you bad online, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, story of my life. It's been happening since 2008. So it happens, you know. You deal with it, you move on, you try to talk to the person. If it works, and you are okay. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. You move on. Honestly, I'm so busy in my actual life. I won't say real life because I know there's real people on here, but my actual life, like this stuff around me, I'm working, I'm cleaning a house, I'm painting, I'm vacuuming, I'm doing stuff to make my environment better. I live in a cruddy situation. Do you not think I'm kind of focused on this, you know, than to be worried about who likes me, who doesn't like me, who's saying this, who's doing that? Honestly, I let all that go last year. That's old news. That's a good name. That is old news. And that's where it's put, is in the past. I don't like the dynamic that goes on YouTube and social media where this person's against that person and this person's saying that and that person's doing this. And it doesn't, what's the point? What are you hoping to accomplish? That person could die tomorrow and they'll be out of your life, you know, and it won't even matter. So why concern yourself with that? It doesn't make a difference. So I'm not going to. If other people want to, that's their way of handling stuff, fine. But I'm just going to focus on me and what's going on around me and my husband and my children and my home. And when I come on YouTube, do a few videos or whatever I want to do and limit my time on here, because at least as far as like this particular drama and crime section, because it's not worth it. It just pulls you down, pulls you apart, depresses you, makes you feel hopeless and useless and helpless. And that's not how I want to live my life. Not at all. All right, there's only a little bit more left of this. I think it's like an hour and 30 minutes, and we're at the 57-minute mark now. So it's almost done. We'll continue on here.
Okay. Someone asked or made a statement. I understand alienating, gaslighting, verbally abusing your target, but what drives a narcissist to physical abuse?
Okay. Basically, it's the type of narcissist you're dealing with. So, any narcissist is capable of physical violence. Greater narcissists don't tend to use it because we're aware of the repercussions that can run flow from it because we're calculating. Mid-range narcissists don't tend to do it very often or at all because they operate a facade. Mid-range narcissists tend to think they're nice people. They often think they're empaths. And you see them loafing around in cyberspace, some of whom run support forums for victims of narcissists. Now, many people listening who have unfortunate experiences with some of these forums. So I think you range from mid-range narcissists who think they're an empath, but they're not. Lesser narcissists are more likely to use physical violence. Why? They basically have a limited range of manipulations available to them, because they don't tend to be that clever. They also have limited opportunity, but most importantly of all, they have a low threshold on their igniting fury. When you wound us, it ignites our fury, either heated fury, shouting at you, verbally abusing you, or punching you. Cold fury, cold shoulder, walking off, sitting and sulking. Often that's a combination of the two. And that's a visceral reaction of the narcissist that is generated to make the narcissist do something to cause you to stop wounding us. So if the narcissist punches you, you're in pain, the narcissist feels in control, your tears, your murder represents signals the narcissist is in control, wounding is ended, the narcissist has got control. Because go-tos for those. So lower lessers who are basic out-and-out loser individuals, trailer trash, beer swilling, wife beating types, they aren't really capable of effective triangulation if they've just not got it as their repertoire of manipulation, or if they do it's very basic rudimentary. They need to assert control quickly, so they go to physical violence. They don't stand there and think, what's the best way to get my wife in order? Oh, I know I'll never put her. It's instantaneous because it's a self-defense mechanism. The way that you're all listening now, if you all heard it back, you'll all instinctively shrink down. If you thought, oh, there's a loud noise, that's an explosion. The thing is, it doesn't think about doing it, it just does it. And this again is the vast majority of narcissists. People will have been ensnared by less than range. So physical violence tends to be the risk. Any narcissist can engage in it, but breakers don't, because we've got a wide range of manipulations which people will use that rather than run the risk of trouble, because hitting somebody needs evidence. It might be witnessed as well. Mid-rangers don't like to do it that often or at all because they are raised to start. So they rather than strike their wife in front of a crowd of people that in the party, they sit and sulk instead. And that behaviour asserts control. Wife, what's wrong, what's the matter? Other things such as upset me. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And that fits in more, is more acceptable, in a sense, behaviour. But the lesser doesn't have that many options. And the lesser will turn around and something from horrified individuals. But the lesser doesn't care. Oh, you're all idiots. It's my way or the highway. What do you know? Just deal with it. So it comes down to the type of narcissist you're dealing with.
Okay, HD, someone in the chat wants to know if you would be willing to discuss the likely negative outcomes of responding, defending yourself to narcissist attacks on social media. So if you're interacting on social media, and we all do that, we do it right here on YouTube. So could you maybe talk a little bit about that?
Okay, so we're commenting on something and somebody attacks you. Is that what they're referring to?
Yes, and it's a narcissist. You're dealing with narcissists. You're dealing with narcissists all the time. So obviously they're on social media. So
if that individual is somebody who's not known to you and they're a narcissist in a chat room, don't engage with them. It's as simple as that. They'll keep prodding at you, but it works like this. We have to assert control over you, so we will provoke you in some way. Often it works, and when you react, that signals to us that we've got control over you, or are gaining control over you, so we can't prod. And then we'll move on. If you ignore us, you wound us. We're forced to try and get you under control, so we will try a bit harder. If you ignore us again, we're wounded. We might try a bit harder. You ignore us again, you wound us. At this point, the narcissist in it has a voice screaming at the narcissist, abort, we're getting nowhere, getting no fuel, we can't assert control over this individual. So the narcissist will shift to a different form of manipulation, which might be complaining to other people, scared cat, won't answer me, can't respond to my point. Doesn't matter, resist the urge, you don't, you have no obligation to respond to that person, and indeed, you should refrain from doing so. Or the narcissist disappears, because the narcissism will make the narcissist assert control over you by no longer trying to do so. And so in certain instances, the narcissist will withdraw. The worst thing that you can do is try and argue with us. The worst thing you can do is try and point out using facts that we're wrong and that you're right. Remember, the narcissist is looking at it from your perspective. So when you say, well, actually, your comment about this political person is incorrect because this and this, the narcissist doesn't see what you're writing and think, oh, yes, what a valid argument. They hear this. I'm being controlled by this person. This can't happen. I'm going to write something nasty in response because it's driven by my narcissism. That's what I must do. Remember, the majority of narcissists, that is conscious. They don't sit there thinking it. They just think, who's this arsehole going on being Mr. Clever Bolt telling me this, that, and the other? Oh, look at him with his big dictionary words. I'm going to set him straight. Ignore them. Come off social media if necessary for a period of time. Block these individuals. Ultimately, you've only seen it that the refrain, don't feed the troll. And that's just that.
Because we like justice. That's why we have to set you straight, narcissists. Because we know you're wrong. We know you're lying. We know you're being manipulative, and we want to expose you. We want to show you the error of your ways, and most of us want to fix you. That's why we can't ignore your text messages when you try to manipulate us. That's why we always think we have to have the last word in. I can tell you with Susie, when I used to talk to her on Yahoo, which used to have a chat, I don't know if they still do, I always felt like I had to reply. If she threw something out there, I had to reply. And you guys know me. My replies are not usually just a couple words. They're like paragraphs. So she would wait for me to just type this paragraph, and then she would jump in on a point. What do you mean by that? Why'd you say that? And she would manipulate me that way. Exactly. Red flags, red flags, red flags. Yes, very true, Breezy. And I like what you said about speaking to the little child within. We all have that little kid in us, boy or girl, that is hurting, that has been hurt, that has been wounded. And we need to talk to that child and say, you're not going to be hurt anymore. Those abusers are gone. You're in the here and now. You're safe. It's okay to make that choice. It's okay to do that thing you want to do. I had to do that like with the belly dancing. I always wanted to be a belly dancer, or at least to learn how to do it. But yes, there were things in me that was saying, I'm fat, I can't get on there and do that. People will laugh at me. And some people did. Some people made fun of it and mocked it and whatever. But I spoke to the little child in me, so to speak, that enjoys having fun, and said, so what if you don't get every move right? You're still having a good time. You're still moving your body. You're still losing weight. And who cares what they think? You don't have to post the video, but you will, because you're histrionic. You like attention. That I do. I don't deny that. And it's fun. And it's helpful to people that want to learn how to dance. And if I did it, they can do it. And that's the point. Face your fears. Take a risk and do something new. Life is short. Go and enjoy it. I mean, we have no excuses anymore, as I've said so many times, for being bored or getting caught up in abusive relationships, because if we love ourselves and we're paying attention to ourselves and practicing good self-care, we don't have time for that garbage out there. Thank you, Butter. Like me, now I'm doing Zumba, and at the end of the week, next week, I'm going to be doing hula and haka, and I'm going to do every kind of dance I want to do because I want to do it. I got my guitar strung. As soon as I can get a way to pick up my guitar and the money to pay for it, it's like $60 or something, I'm going to get my guitar, and I'm going to start playing guitar and singing again because I want to do that. Because I remember being a little girl and a teenager looking at my mom and dad and saying, right now you control me, but when I'm an adult, I'm going to do what I want. So why the heck wouldn't I be? Why aren't you? I mean, maybe you still live with your parent. I don't know, because I don't know who's watching this. But if you're an adult, why are you not going out and exploring what you like to do? Why don't you go take up a skiing class or an ice skating class? Or, I mean, maybe money's an issue. So start a GoFundMe and ask people, tell them you want to explore ice skating. People will fund you. Most likely, people love to give money. And here's the thought about money. I've got to say this because I've watched so many stupid videos saying, oh, they're just wanting the money. They just want the views, blah, blah, blah. We all want views on YouTube. What's the point of being here if you're not getting viewed? That just means people are watching you. And yes, you want more people to watch you because it means that your message is making a difference. Why would you be ashamed of saying you want views? I know I've said that. I'm not here for the views. I don't care about views. Yeah, I do. I care about views, but not for the reason of I'm vain and I just want to be seen, because I'm going to die one day. Nobody cares if I'm seen or not now. I'm not even going to be here. People don't care about that. What I care about when I'm here is that my message is getting out, and I'm offering people a fun place to come where they can just talk and be themselves. Maybe a place to find some prayer if they need it, a place to meet other people, to make friends, because we're on this earth for a time and a season. Why not enjoy it? Why sit around moping and feeling sorry for ourselves and being depressed, if you can do something? It doesn't make sense. Like, I could sit and look at my counter or my cupboards, my cabinets, and go, oh, they look so ugly. They look so ugly. I just asked somebody for paint. My ex-husband happened to have some old paint around. He gave it to me. Some of it was garbage. I threw it out. And others, you see the difference on my celebration, on my cupboards, on my cabinets. I was looking at what you wrote, Butter. Sorry. And yeah, so just do it. Nike, just do it. Stop sitting around thinking about, oh, I should do this, or I would love to do that. Go and do it. What is stopping you? I remember I've been through a lot of motivational training in my first marriage because we used to sell home-based products and stuff like that. That's why I'm a motivational type of speaker of a sort, and I'm very confident in talking. I was trained a lot through a lot of years. And one thing they asked us was, what would you do right now if money, if time, if people were not an issue? If there was nothing stopping you, what would you do right now? And go and do it, because nothing's stopping you. There is a way. If you need money, start a GoFundMe, have a yard sale. I don't know, go get the part-time job. Whatever, there's nothing stopping you. We live in America. If you ever feel like, oh, I'm just, I got nothing, nobody, blah, 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 go move to a foreign country and then come back. Come back and tell me how bad you have it in America, okay? I know this for a fact because I talk to people from other countries every day, and they think they have freedoms. And then they come to USA, and they say, it's incredible. You guys, you can do anything you want. They think we're made of money in America, most of them. They don't realize till they get here that there are some poor people. There are people that don't have what other people have. But one thing they like about me that they tell me, and this isn't to toot my horn, this is just to give you an example of what I'm saying. They say, you're amazing, teacher, because you are telling me your house has been through flood, but yet you are so positive. You are so, you have good, virtue. You have good feeling about God, and you believe you can do anything, and you have all these, they call it habits, but they mean hobbies. You have many habits, and you do so many things. It's impressive to them because I don't sit around and feel sorry for myself. I don't have time to. I don't take the time to. Yes, exactly. You love the person you are. And it's just how it is. You gotta go do it, or you're gonna get snatched up by these HG tutor people and these Sam Beckman people that want to chew you up and spit you out and tell you who you are based on what they say you are. They are puppet masters. Don't let the puppet masters and the puppeteers control your life. You will be the master of your destiny. And if you believe in God, let him be the master of your destiny so that you don't get sucked up in these crazy relationships. Okay, let's go back to HG. We're never going to get through this. Sorry. I got on a tangent there.
And what we've got to learn is it's utterly futile what we're trying to do. And all we're going to do is let us win. So you've got to fight it on. Is it fair? No. But we're not talking about whether it's fair or not. We're talking about what the right thing to do is. So when you encounter these people on social media, I have, and they come on my blog and come out maybe, I find it abusive. I see exactly what they are straight away. But I'm not an empath, so it doesn't affect me the way it affects you. And also, when you're on my blog, it's all moderated to protect my other readers. So after a while, I let them in. My readers say, hey, let's open the window. So I let them fly in so they can use this example so that people can utilize their learning. And then after a while, I just leave their comments. And they disappear. Because they're not getting anything. So then the narcissist causes them to leave. They'll put 2 or 3 comments into the moderation, squawking and flapping against my assertion of control over them.